The release of the Cleric and Revised Species Unearthed Arcana has provided us with an updated version of the Ardling, which first made its appearance in the Character Origins UA back in August, the Dragonborn, and the Goliath, which is making its first One D&D appearance in this document. One consistency that seems to run through all of these races is options. None of the Ardling, the Dragonborn, or the Goliath are static race options. They all provide you with the ability to make additional choices to further customize your character in a way that feels right and provide different features as a result. I am a really big fan of this approach. I love having choices in D&D, particularly meaningful options that will fundamentally alter the way a character plays and interacts with the world around them. Each of these offers that. On the flip side, while it's not my preference, I can certainly understand why someone might simply just want to pick a race, get all the cool stuff, and move on with their day and not have to make a choice where it feels like you're leaving something on the table. However, as I am more of a fan of the give and take and flavor rather than raw power, that will certainly color my opinions. As a point of reference, I'll be comparing the Ardling to its previous version from the Character Origins UA, the Dragonborn will be compared to the same UA as well as to its original version in the Player's Handbook from 2014. I will not be addressing the versions presented in Fizban's Treasury of Dragons, as Jeremy Crawford did state that these versions are intended to stand on their own and not overlap or obsolete one another. The Goliath will be compared to the version found in Icewind Dale, Rime of the Frostmaiden, rather than the version from the Elemental Evil Player's Compendium. As a starting point, the Ardling has had their lore stepped up a notch. The descendants of celestial animals that served the Beast Lords and evolved into bipedal forms with beast-like heads, keen senses, and an innate connection to magic. It paints a really cool picture that helps inform some of the racial options presented. None of the base Ardling adventurer stats have changed. You are still humanoid and can opt to be either medium or small in size, which only has the impact on your physical stature and not in-game statistics such as speed. That, however, is where the similarities end, but in a good way. I mentioned earlier how I like options. I like to feel as though my choices matter and are impactful in some meaningful way. The original version of the Ardling simply did not really offer that. The race just felt like it was trying to do too many things all at the same time, and the choices often felt insignificant. Gone are the exalted, heavenly, and idyllic celestial legacies, which have been replaced by the new animal ancestry. The choices are as follows. Climber, which grants you a climb speed equal to your speed, and allows you once per turn to increase the damage of your unarmed strikes by an amount equal to your proficiency bonus. Flyer provides vestigial wings which allow you to prevent fall damage by using a reaction to slow your descent whenever you fall by 10 or more feet. It also allows you to flap your wings when you jump to gain advantage on the associated ability check. Racer increases your speed when you take the dash action by an amount equal to 10 times your proficiency bonus. Finally, Swimmer allows you to hold your breath for up to an hour, grants you a swim speed equal to your speed, as well as resistance to cold damage. Regardless of which animal ancestry you pick, you also gain access to the new Divine Magic feature, which initially provides the Thaumaturgy spell, however, it also allows you to replace that spell with any other cantrip from the Divine Spell list on a long rest. Finally, the Ardling also has proficiency in Perception. The updated version of the Ardling is, in my opinion, fundamentally better in every way. The options are more streamlined but also more impactful. The tie-ins to alignment, extra spells, and flight are all gone, save for the glide and the flyer option. Each choice now provides the player with an interesting way to design their character that allows them to better fulfill whatever particular fantasy or idea they were considering. I also like the fact that the D&D team is experimenting with additional ways of granting alternate speeds like climb and swim speeds. These, while obviously obtainable in specific ways, felt a little more hard to get in 5e. If you're enjoying this video, consider leaving a like and subscribing to the channel. I'm currently trying to hit a stretch goal of 1,500 subscribers by the new year. I release a new video every Sunday, so check that out. Thanks. The version of the Dragonborn presented in the Character Origins UA was a small but unwelcome change. It simply felt like a step back. The breath weapon was the largest culprit. The damage changed to 1d10 plus the character level rather than 2d6 and no longer gained the incremental die increase as the character leveled up. And it was only in a 15-foot cone, no longer provided the options of firing in a line. The updated version presented in the Cleric and Revised Species UA is a dramatic step forward from both the 2014 version and the Character Origins Unearthed Arcana. The breath weapon now regains the ability to be fired in a 15-foot cone or a 30-foot line, and it seems that the player gets to choose the form at the time that they use the breath weapon. A notable improvement from the 2014 Dragonborn, which tied the shape of the attack to the draconic ancestry chosen. The damage bonus from the character level has been removed, but the scaling has returned. The damage now increases to 2d10, 3d10, and 4d10 at 5th, 11th, and 17th level respectively. I'm not a big fan of the damage shifting to 1d10, as both the maximum damage and the consistency of the damage have dropped as a result of this change. As I mentioned, I don't need things to be insanely powerful or broken, but something would just feel really disappointing about having your Dragonborn hurl their breath weapon and for it to do a whopping 1 damage. It really just wouldn't feel all that great. Obviously now, as the feature can be used more than the 2014 version, as in both the updated versions of the race, the character is able to use the feature an amount of times equal to their proficiency bonus per long rest, rather than the 2014 version, which only allowed it to be used once per day. So this has the added side effect of doing more damage per day, but I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. Probably the most impactful change to the breath weapon though, is that it no longer requires the use of a dedicated action. Now, when you take the attack action, you can replace one of your attacks with one use of it, which I think is an excellent change. If you have access to the extra attack feature, not needing to burn your whole action to fire your breath weapon is simply a solid improvement and feels more natural and organic too. The other major change to the Dragonborn is the inclusion of the new Draconic Flight feature, which has not appeared in either prior version. Draconic Flight allows you, at 5th level, to provide yourself with temporary flight. Once per long rest, you can use a bonus action to sprout wings that last for 10 minutes or until you become incapacitated, and these give you a fly speed equal to your speed. I won't lie though, as a forever DM, granting relatively early access to the ability to fly is always something that has scared me, as it can have some significant consequences if you have not thoroughly considered the ability. However, I feel like the limited nature of Draconic Flight, it being restricted to 5th level, and simply the flavor of it more than compensates for that. While it might be very good, I think it adds a quality to the Dragonborn that probably always should have been there. The One D&D Goliath has received a significant restructuring, not only compared to its Icewind Dale counterpart, but even compared to the other two races in this UA. Right off the bat, the Goliath now has an increased base speed of 35 feet rather than the previous 30. Additionally, many of the features that all Goliaths previously received have now been split out into various giant ancestries, which provide specific bonuses based on the type of giant that aligns with the chosen ancestry. Each of the provided features can be used an amount of times equal to your proficiency bonus per long rest, and the available choices are as follows. Cloud's Jaunt, based on the Cloud Giant, this ancestry allows you to use your bonus action to teleport up to 30 feet to an unoccupied space that you can see. Fire's Burn, based on Fire Giants, allows you to add 1d10 fire damage to a target on a successful hit. Frost Chill from the Frost Giants allows you to add 1d6 cold damage to a target on a successful hit, in addition to reducing the target's speed by 10 feet until the start of your next turn. Hill's Tumble, based on Hill Giants, allows you to knock a creature prone on a successful hit. Stone's Endurance, based on Stone Giants, allows you to use your reaction to reduce any damage taken by 1d12 plus your Constitution modifier. Finally, Storm's Thunder, based on Storm Giants, allows you to use your reaction to deal 1d8 thunder damage to any creature that dealt damage to you that is within 60 feet. One thing worth mentioning about each of these features is that none of them require you to preempt them. You only need to use the feature if the hit was successful. This is a nice quality of life improvement that has becoming much more consistent in recent releases. Some other notable differences between the revised Goliath and its Icewind Dale counterpart is that now only characters descended from Stone Giants gain the Stone's Endurance feature, something all Goliaths used to get, though it did used to only be usable once per short or long rest. Furthermore, both the resistance to cold damage and proficiency in athletics have been removed. Thematically, I'm actually totally fine with these changes, particularly the removal of cold resistance. Even from a power perspective, which I'm not typically all that bothered about, but gaining resistance from a race, even though this is not the only example of it, as can be seen with the Ardling, is still quite powerful. The proficiency in athletics seems to have been replaced by a new feature which comes online at 5th level, called Large Form. This feature allows a Goliath as a bonus action to change their size to large for 10 minutes provided adequate space is available. During this time, you gain advantage on all strength checks, and your speed is increased by 10 feet. This can be done once per long rest. I'll be honest though, as cool as this seems, I really don't think that I like it. As good as it may be, it does just feel a little bit gimmicky and a bit too superhero-esque for me. Finally, the powerful build feature has been retained with the added inclusion of providing advantage on any saving throw made to end the grappled condition. Overall, once again, it's hard to not feel like the new Goliath is a notable improvement over its previous version. While I don't know for certain whether this is a good or bad thing for the game, I tend to lean towards the positive. Power in One D&D is clearly being taken up a notch. Many may not be fans of that, and there's nothing wrong with feeling that way. As alluded to earlier, I don't particularly mind either way. I typically tend to lean more towards giving more toys and more options rather than stripping things away, provided it doesn't make things feel overwhelming or complicated. And at the moment at least, I feel like the D&D team has done a reasonable job of balancing complexity with choice. I don't know for certain if these race options are too good or not good enough, but what I do know is that they are exactly what I want from race selection in Dungeons & Dragons. They allow me to make interesting choices about the development of my character and ones that will actually influence how I play. I'm not saying that they're perfect or that they're without flaw. What I am saying is that I like the design direction that they have taken. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to check out some of my other 1D&D content. It's all linked on screen right now. If you'd like to support me, feel free to subscribe to my channel and leave a like on this video to help others find what I do. Otherwise, take care.